Hi everyone, Rene with the American School of Hypnosis, and I would like to welcome you all here on this Tuesday morning. And let's see, when is it? It is June 9th. Beautiful foggy morning out there, but we've been having great weather, so I can't complain too much. And today is episode 18 of our live webinars weekly, and it's actually questions revealed, but I have a whopper that I got, one of our viewers sent in that I'd like to answer, and I think a lot of people would be interested in the answers to this. So the title is Hypnosis, Questions Revealed, Are Post-Hypnotic Suggestions Real? So while we're waiting for people to come on, go ahead and let me know who you are, where you're from, and we're going to see if anybody is further than Raluca, who's right next to me about probably 30 feet in the other room. Let's see, what do we have here? Ronald Arald from Stuart, Florida. Okay. And April from Scotland. April, you're always beating everyone. It'd be funny if she's in Scotland, Maine. We're in the state of Maine, and in Maine we have a China, Maine. We have Poland, Maine. We have, Mexico, Maine. I can't even think of the others. There's this place up in northern Maine that has like a street sign, right? And with all the different towns. Then it has probably it has the names of all the different towns, but it has the names of probably, I'd say about 12 countries, because all these towns have different country names. So it's kind of funny, Scotland, 60 miles, London, 2 miles, So, and Raluca's here. Good morning, Raluca. She could hear me both on the microphone and in the other room. So I see we got quite a few people watching. So go ahead and come on in. Tell me who you are, where you're from. And AGL, I lived in New England the majority of my life, but returned home 2 years ago. Well, why not New England being home, okay? If you came back, you'd return home. New England's a great place to live, but like I said, if you've been following me, the weather is quite unpredictable. If you want the weather to change, just wait a minute. And Roger from Edmonton, hello up there. And good to see you. So we got people coming in, and that's great to see everyone here. Now, this is going to be a question and answer segment, even though we're going to be speaking about post-hypnotic suggestions a bit. So what I'd like to ask you in advance, because there is a delay on this system, when I ask you something, it takes sometimes a couple minutes for it to show up, is if you have questions that you'd like answered about hypnosis, okay, not who my tailor is and this kind of thing, but questions about hypnosis, go ahead and type them in advance, and if there are things we can help you with here, we'll go ahead and answer them after we're done this main part. And so with that, go ahead and type them in. And again, I'd like to welcome everybody, and let's go ahead and get started. Now, I get quite a few comments on our YouTube channel. As you know, we have a very extensive YouTube channel with over 1,000 videos on hypnosis and everything hypnosis and self-help related. And a couple days ago, I got one from someone called Adam Wee. And Adam, yes, I'm going to be talking about your comments right here. And let me go ahead and read it. I broke it down into smaller segments to be able to handle easier, because it was a good size question. Matter of fact, for those of you that came here today as a result of the email I sent out, probably about an hour ago, I actually included this question in the email, so you'll know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Adam says, he goes, great video. Here's a question. I know that hypnosis itself isn't dangerous. That's true. Although, also that being asked or told to do something against your will or against your character won't work. Okay, so that's how he starts up. So those are true statements, and I'm going to kind of break this all down. Hypnosis itself isn't dangerous, but the operator can be. It's like saying a gun's not dangerous. The person using it can make it dangerous. Or pretty much anything. A frying pan isn't dangerous unless you give it to Raluca. Unless somebody wheels it at you. Hi, Kenneth from Jacksonville. So that's right. You really could just yell. She heard me. I think she's looking for the frying pan. So I know hypnosis isn't dangerous. So it's not dangerous, but the person can be. Okay, so anything good can be used for bad, and you won't do anything against your will or your character, and that's true. However, he goes, what about post-hypnotic suggestions? What's a post-hypnotic suggestion? Again, I'm stopping his statement here. A post-hypnotic suggestion is just like it sounds. It's a suggestion to be acted upon after it's given. So every time you hear a car horn toot, you scream bonsai, and you go outside later on and do bonsai, okay? So he goes, what about post-hypnotic suggestions, okay? He says, I actually have a lot of fear about this. I don't believe I could be pushed into doing something bad, but what about suggestions that you're kind of on the fence about? Good point. He says, I remember reading a woman who accepted the suggestion to take off her clothes every time she heard the word math at a comedy show. Well, a week later, she heard it and felt so compelled that she ran to the bathroom and did it. But she did it in the bathroom, okay? Well, important note that I'm going to get back to. She was asking online later on how to get rid of the suggestion. I don't know if it was a lie or what, but what do you think? I'm going to read the rest of the statement, then we'll come back. If you want post-hypnotic suggestions gone, will it fade away over time? Does the subconscious mind have ways of defending itself or no? So you can see why I wanted to bring that up. There's a lot of good questions and points within the questions. So thank you, Adam. And I'll send a note to you later in case you're not here, letting you know that we did answer this for you. So let's go back again. Now, he said he was reading about a woman who was given the suggestion to take off her clothes every time she heard the word math at a comedy show. Of course, at the comedy show, they'll have them make believe they're taking off their clothes, okay? And a week later, she felt compelled to do that. Or maybe this was an adult comedy show and she actually took it off. Who knows? And she felt compelled to do it and went to the bathroom and did it. Now, going back, a post-hypnotic suggestion, okay, you're not going to do anything against your nature or your will. Now, some people undressing in public wouldn't be a problem. Actually, I read in a book a while back, there was these people doing a test where they had a housewife and they did the same thing. Okay, we want you to go ahead, you gave her a suggestion, not a post-hypnotic, but right on the spot. We want you to go ahead and undress right now. So she made believe she was undressing. And they said, no, you don't understand this. We want you to undress. So she made believe again. And the third time, she opened her eyes and she goes, I won't do that. You see what I mean? It was against her will. Now, they also did this test with a woman who wasn't the housewife, but she was an exotic dancer. And she proceeded to take off her clothes because it wasn't against her will or her nature. It was part of her character. You see the difference between the two? Now, with this woman, where she heard the suggestion or the word math that made her, go ahead and take the clothes off, a week later, okay, notice she didn't do it in public. She ran to a restroom and did it. So choice was there. Okay, it was against her nature to do it in public, but not someplace else. Now, a lot of other things come into play. Was she alone? Were friends with her that maybe went to the show and knew about this? So when she heard the word math, maybe one of them said it. She ran to the bathroom, maybe showing off. What do I mean by that? I did a comedy hypnosis show years ago. And halfway through the show, I had this thing. I called it, basically, it was a free-for-all. It was like a midway where I had, out of 20 people on stage, I had them all doing different things. These two were doing the ballet. These two were rapping. I had, when I said certain cue words, they'd get up and do something and get back down. It was pretty funny. One of them, I told him two of them were exotic birds. I told them they were going to get up and flop around like flamingos or whatever exotic bird they want to be. Now, when the show was over, we tell everybody at the count of 3, you're going to come out of hypnosis feeling wonderful in every way and all that, and the show's over. Now, I didn't say you're going to stop being a bird, you're going to stop doing the ballet, because most people, they realize that subconsciously they're not going to do it. So again, I was fairly new when I started this in hypnosis. It was probably my first year in doing comedy hypnosis. I did it for many, many years. So anyways, this was at a high school. And the show was over, and I'm packing up my things, getting ready to go, and a couple students come running up to me. They go, Rene, there's a guy in the bathroom, the one that you made a bird, and he's running his face into the mirror. He keeps on banging into the mirror, kind of like a bird trying to get out of a window. And you got to do something, So I was like, whoa, what's going on? So I ran into the bathroom, and I saw him, and I said, sleep. When you open your eyes, the suggestions are gone, and all that. Now, why did that happen? Well, basically, this guy he was on the football team, okay? He was kind of a show-off, kind of like one of the popular kids. And the only reason he did that is because when he left the hall, or left the room where the session was, he was being followed by about 5 or 6 of his friends, 5 or 6 people in the show. So what happened, he had an audience, okay? He was still showing off. So since they were following him, he went to the bathroom. They followed him in the bathroom, still acting like a bird, and he started doing that. Believe me, if he was alone, he would not have done that because he wouldn't have had the attention. He wouldn't have had the show. So that's the thing. You're not going to do anything against your nature. You're not forced to be a bird, okay? But you'll do it if it's still going to keep your attention. You'll do it as long as it seems important to you. Here's another example. If I said every time I snap my fingers, you're going to scream bonsai as loud as could be, okay? I snap my fingers, you'll yell bonsai. We go outside walking down the street, snap my fingers. Even after the session's over, you'll probably still scream bonsai because it's funny and everybody's laughing at you. We go into your church next to people and I snap my fingers, you might go, but you'll stop because you don't want to be embarrassed. It's against your nature to be embarrassed and to do something stupid in front of people you don't know. You see the difference? So how long will a post-hypnotic suggestion last? As long as it's important to you. If I tell you that you're a non-smoker, you'll never smoke again, that's important to you. That can last a lifetime or will last a lifetime. If I tell you that, every time you see a child, you'll feel so happy and, just open and loving, because that's a good thing. But again, if I told you every time I snap my fingers, you're going to scream, you're going to stop probably right after the session. Or you might do it if people are watching you. So that's important to realize. Now let's go back to the question. She was asking online how to get rid of the suggestion. Well, she probably still felt a little compelled when she got home. Again, maybe her husband or somebody else watching kept on going, math, just to see, because it's funny, So she probably felt a little compelled, and yeah, it's a suggestion you gave you, so you're going to think about it a lot. So she went online. Again, she might have been watched, or maybe she just wanted to know if it's something she had to worry about. But that when she ran into the restroom and got undressed, that the suggestion wasn't the same anymore. She started making her own choice. So will a suggestion fade away over time? If it's not important to you, like if it's not like smoking or something like that, yeah, if it's not important, it will fade away. She'll even forget about this suggestion. It's important because it made her laugh. It was probably emotional at the time, excitement and happiness and all this. But pretty much anything that's not major will fade away eventually. Consciously, the subconscious always remembers it. And the last question, does the subconscious mind have a way of defending itself or not? Well, the subconscious mind there's so much about it we don't know, but it's like a 5-year-old child, okay? A 5-year-old child is innocent, naive, it wants to help you, it wants to follow instructions, but again, it still has a 5-year-old intelligence. It can make decisions. It usually doesn't because the conscious mind does, but in absence of the conscious mind, the subconscious mind makes them. So, yeah, the subconscious knows what's going on. Matter of fact, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So whenever you give suggestions to yourself or to someone else, they're always hearing them. They're going to accept them. You're going to accept them. Even right now as I'm speaking to you, if you're accepting what I'm saying, under the definition of hypnosis, you're being hypnotized. Because hypnosis is being open to suggestion. So unless you're going, la, 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 I don't believe anything he's saying, you're being hypnotized and you're accepting suggestions. Now, if you go, no, that's not right, I don't believe him, you're still accepting suggestions, but you're accepting your own counter suggestion, the opposite. You see what I mean? So you're always accepting suggestions unless you're like, la, 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 blocking your ears. You're hearing suggestions all the time, every day. Buy this, get that. This is better than that. This sports team is better than that sport team. Wonder Bread is better than so-and-so's bread. I can't think of too many other names. So you see what I mean? You're getting suggestions all the time. So the mind does have a way of defending itself. It's not going to do anything against its will. So keep that in mind. So anyways, Adam, thank you for a great thought-provoking question. When I read that, I was going to answer him right away on YouTube, but it says, instead of typing this, a lot of other people probably will enjoy hearing that because I get questions similar to this all the time. A few years ago, you probably heard Raluca talk about we had a radio station from someplace in the UK that was calling and asking me about a bank robbery that happened where the guy was a hypnotist or did hypnosis to the teller and she turned over all the money, They asked me what I thought. Well, the way they explained it sounded like an inside jobs to me, Somebody's not going to come up to you and just compel you to do something right on the spot. Now, was she preconditioned? I mean, there's a lot of different stipulations of different ways. Anything can be taken outside, I guess, the definition. Look at people in the military. Okay, they're conditioned to you're taking somebody off the street and making a combat soldier out of them. That's hypnosis. It's done through repetition, but it's a constant conditioning or brainwashing or whatever you want to call it, all the same thing, to the point where they're completely different. But they still know the difference between right or wrong. They're still not going to do anything against their nature or their standards. Most people that go into the military to be a combat soldier have it in their nature to be okay with combat. You see what I mean? But someone who is a loving, I don't know what you call them, save the whales, I can't step on an insect or whatever, is not going to go into the military to be a combat soldier. So if they were recruited, they probably still wouldn't hurt anybody, even though they were given suggestions and I guess you could say conditioned. So I hope that helps to understand that, and I'm going to go look to see if we have any questions. So if you haven't written your questions yet, go ahead and write them. Let's see, Roger, what are your thoughts and history to out-of-body and near-death experiences? What are my thoughts, Roger, as if do I believe in them or, get a little bit more descriptive, but near-death experience, well, I had one. Ta-da! Okay, I'm not years old now, but a long time ago, when I turned 40, I was told to go to the VA hospital. They called me up. They said, we got your test results. You need to come down here to the West Roxbury VA hospital. And right now, and we have an anesthesiologist and a heart surgeon on hand. Somebody, I guess backed out or maybe they died. I don't know. And we have an opening right now. So they said, get a ride down. So I got a ride to go down there. And I went all the way down, got down on the table, and I actually died on the operating table. Some kind of allergic reaction to the dye or something they put inside me. And as you can see, they revived me, okay? So I did come back. And so everyone has their own near-death experiences. A lot of them have to do with their beliefs or their, whatever they've been taught. Mine wasn't nearly as eventful or a visual, but I'm not a visual person. All I remember was a deep calm. I felt so calm and so relaxed. I mean, I could hear myself fading out. Everybody's yelling and, scurrying around trying to fix me because they saw that I guess I redlined. And I remember when they were trying to pull me back, I was fighting. I didn't want to come back. This was so relaxed, so relaxing, I should say, so euphoric that I wanted to stay there. And eventually they did pull me back, and I could feel a nurse holding my hand, and I think somebody might have even slapped me, or maybe I felt I was being slapped. But I came back, and that was my near-death experience. So it's kind of interesting because we did a webinar a while back on the different brainwave levels, and Of course, there's alpha, which is when you first get into hypnosis. Right now, you're in beta. You're listening to me. That's the busy state. Then you close your eyes. You go into alpha. When you get to the daydream state, you're into theta. Then you get into delta, which is deep healing. And you could take people to all these levels in hypnosis. Deep healing, the body heals a minimum of 3 times faster. That's the psychic state. That's where your mind is overlapping with everyone else's consciousness. But what we don't talk about is the next level, okay? So there's alpha, theta, delta, and there's epsilon, okay? That is the coma state. The reason we don't talk about it is it's so deep that there's really no reason to take anyone there. I have in demonstration just a couple times with people I knew really well, okay? And the only danger of the epsilon state is that it's so deep, it's so euphoric, kind of like it's kind of even with that. That's where you would take somebody to do an out-of-body experience. So, and you can take somebody into out-of-body experience with hypnosis. But it's so deep and it's so euphoric that people want to stay there. This young man that I brought him there says, on the count of 3, you're going to come out of hypnosis, and 1, 2, 3, and he stayed. Now, you can't get stuck in hypnosis, but the only time it might look like it is when they're there. Now, are they stuck? No, they're not stuck. It's just so euphoric that they don't want to come out. Imagine going to a massage parlor where you're so deeply relaxed with massage and you love the music and and you hear a baby crying. You don't want to open your eyes. You want to push that away. You want to stay in the relaxed area, kind of like that there. So it was quite euphoric. So that's my experience. He says, what are your thoughts and what are your experience? My thoughts, it's kind of cool. I haven't experienced out of body myself. I've taken people to life between lives. Like I said, experienced a near-death experience, if that's what you want to call it. It was very interesting. I don't want to experience again, because it's too borderline to do it the way I did it. So I hope that helps. Ishmael, hello, Ishmael and Philippa. Hello to you too. And that looks like that's all we have for questions. So unless someone has more questions that they'd like to have answered or an experience they want to share, I will probably let you folks go. And Raluca and I are going to enjoy this day. We're going to go do a little bit of shopping. I'm going to come back and go downstairs and work on building my boat, which is just about done, folks. Another couple of weeks it'll be in the water and I'll be sailing. Let's see. Oh, see that? I said that. I said bye-bye. Now the questions are coming. Let me bring the questions over here so it'll be easier to read. How to make sure that suggestions last a long time, please? Well, again, it depends what the suggestion is. Is that Michelle? It depends what the suggestion is, and if it's important to the client, it'll last as long as it's important to them. Like I said earlier, for smoking cessation, for confidence, for self-image. If it's just for a test, those suggestions will only last till probably after the test, okay? And Ronald, I use coma state all the time. I have a way to work with people in that state. I found there is another state beyond that one. Oh yeah, if you go to my How to Get Out of Your Mind book, I actually, and I think I have the BBSS scale. You can actually look that up online, BBSS brainwave scale, and it'll show you all the different brainwaves, because some people think it goes this way and this way. Okay, that's what they always show you, alpha, theta, delta, but it actually goes into a circle. Okay, it goes all the way around, going the other way from beta, there's hyper beta, there's gamma, there's hyper gamma, there's all the way around. So there are different, but it's not a good idea to take people. There's really no reason to take anyone that deep, because 90% of all hypnosis is done in the alpha and theta state. That's all that's needed. Remember, all you need is to be open to suggestion, not to be in a hypno-coma state. Okay, so there's no reason for that. See, Raluca, repetition. Do it for at least 30 days. Yeah, that's how you build any kind of habit, through a repetition. And I think that goes back to Michelle when she asked about how to make suggestions last. Just continue to give suggestions. I thought you were talking about a posthypnotic, but regular suggestions, just give them on and on for a minimum of 30 days, and that's how they become habit. Suggestions can become habit. habits become your beliefs become your new way of life. So with that, I would like to thank all of you for coming. I enjoy speaking to you, so be sure you're here next week. Let your friends know about it. Take the day off. Tell your boss you have to have that. Well, I don't want you to get in trouble. But anyway, but I want to thank you all for coming. I want you all to stay safe. Raluca and I wish you all the very best of success in your business and in your personal lives. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye now.